Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are in the world. Welcome to the Happiness Hacking TV show and podcast, a place to inform and inspire you to live a more happier and more abundant life. I'm Patricia Madalena, NLP master, trainer, and integration therapist. And each week I bring you a brand new episode, tying in extracts from my best-selling book, The Happiness Hacker Reveals, as well as really inspiring interviews from ordinary people that are experts in their fields, all designed to support us on our mission to stay connected and present and more happy in this hectic world. And if you've not yet ordered a copy of The Happiness Hacker Reveals, then please do so. Go and grab a copy. And then you can access all of the amazing tools and trainings and bonuses that I've created to help you have a more happier and more abundant life. And you can also find out more over at www.transformation.tv, and please bounce on over to our Facebook page, Transformation TV, and like that so that you can stay up to date with all of our inspiring news and TV shows. Okay, so welcome to episode 4. I'm very excited about this episode. In this episode, I'm joined by my special guest, Trevor Hodgson. Now, Trevor he's just one of those really inspiring warriors that has that fire in his belly that drives him to be the best that he can possibly be. Now, he has had a full power life and is no stranger to feeling the fear and doing it anyway. But more importantly, over the last few years, he has cured himself of cancer. Now, his story is really rather remarkable, so I wanted to share it all with you. So we're just gonna bring him to the meeting. Let me see now. Okay. So, welcome, Trevor. It's so good to have you here to the Happiness Hacking TV show and podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me on board. Thank you, Trish.
Yay, you're more than welcome. So I thought we could just dive straight in. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and what led you to be here right now today?
Wow. Well, where do I start? Okay. Basically, I was in an abusive childhood. That was my start in life. I suffered quite a lot of problems from that, and then eventually I got kicked out of home when I was 16, and I did an electrical apprenticeship. So I did a 4-year electrical apprenticeship, and but that was something that I didn't want to do. I actually wanted to be a professional rock climber, so I did my apprenticeship and then quit my job, and I went into the world of rock climbing over in Snowdonia in the UK. Brilliant experience, but the only problem I had was that I had a problem with my eyesight. So eventually, by the time I was 26, I had no central vision, which made rock climbing at a high level virtually impossible, to be honest. So then I got into business just to fill my life up with things. I set up a business in Spain, I set up a business in Dubai. Again, it was an offshoot from my climbing, really. It was rope access, so abseiling down buildings, oil rigs, recently wind turbines, and I spent a lot of time traveling. I made a lot of money in relatively short periods of time, which gave me the opportunity to actually buy time back for myself. So I spent a lot of time traveling around the world doing pretty much whatever I wanted, really. And then more coming up to, well, in my 40s, one of the things that I discovered was that I was suffering really badly from suicidal depression, and it had taken a big part, control of my life. So I went and got some therapy, and basically I used EFT emotional freedom technique, and effectively cured myself from the depression, which was an amazing thing to do. You know, it gave me emotional freedom. It improved my relationships with my friends, with my girlfriends, with every relationship. Basically, it changed everything overnight almost. It's quite remarkable. And then since then, I've had several businesses. Again, just keep going back to business. I do a little bit of work. I like drafting. I'm quite a physical person. I'm very physical, actually. And one of the big things that has been a coping mechanism for myself has been getting involved with pretty extreme adrenaline sports. So I started off with the rock climbing, and then when I became unable to do that, I started surfing, paragliding, skateboarding, kite surfing is my latest thing, which I'm particularly enjoying. But things that didn't get affected the same way by rock climbing, because with rock climbing you had to have very precise footwork, handwork, and be able to read the rock very clearly. Whereas you're going surfing in big waves, 20, 30-foot waves, it's pretty apparent where you are and what you can do. So it was sort of adapting my life to what I had and what I was capable of doing, really. And then the most recent thing is I had a kid. So 5 years ago, I had a little boy with Emma, and amazing. What a fantastic journey. The best thing that's ever happened to me by a long way. And he's now 5 years old. I've had the joy of, because of my work, I was working a lot offshore on oil rigs. I had the opportunity to be able to spend, when I was at home, 100% of my time with him, and you know, develop. You know, it's like relearning your whole life, or it has been for me. It's been relearning my whole life, and also looking back at where I was, realizing that I had a pretty terrible childhood at the end of the day. So anyway, so I was working away offshore, doing a lot of stuff that was it was very difficult. I was the last job I had was working out in Azerbaijan, and it was the money was exceptional. I mean, we were talking £20,000 a month, but going away for a month from my son, who was so young, I mean, for me it was traumatic, but for him it must have been like an eternity. So I thought, I need to change this. I need to do something differently. So a couple of years ago, I joined the rat race and got myself a job as a manager. Very difficult. I live in North Wales. There wasn't very many opportunities for me to do the job with the experience that I've got in the rope access industry. So I ended up commuting to Liverpool every day, which was between 3 and 4 hours commute every single day, plus really long hours. And it was a new start company, so there was a lot of stress. I was the only person working there. It was very, very extreme, actually. That all went a little bit pear-shaped, and so I had to look at various other options. And I set up with one of my previous clients from that business, a rope access division for them. And then pretty much as soon as I started that off, I got diagnosed with anal cancer, and then I had to go on to, well, I had to try and cure myself, because you know, the big point for me wasn't a personal thing. I mean, if it was me personally, I'd have probably just gone partying around the world and gone as hard as I possibly could until it was over. But my son was there, and I had to be there for him. There's no way. That was the whole thing why I needed to find a protocol to actually cure myself and find out what cancer is all about and all the rest. And that's pretty much where I am at the moment, really.
Amazing. So, you know, throughout your whole life journey, you know, your childhood has a long-reaching effect, doesn't it, into your life? The things that we experience when we're younger does have a huge impact on the decisions that we make or the decisions that we don't make. And then I just love the fact that you found EFT, because EFT is an amazing modality that helps shift your stuff that's been ingrained deep inside, and does change on every level. So I highly recommend our viewers having a little look out for some EFT practitioners in your area, because you know I've done it too, and it is amazing. And then coming up to this point here, I mean, you've been really gung-ho, haven't you? You've been like starting businesses and then reevaluating your life to see what will fit in now and making those changes. And that takes gumption, doesn't it? That takes that kind of like, I'm going to do this attitude. And then having children is just wonderful, isn't it? It just knocks everything on its head. It's a real like, I thought I was an extreme sports person, but actually, here we go. And then to find out that you've got anal cancer, I mean, you say, I was reading something in your Facebook, and you say it was the, hang on, where is it? It had truly enlightened your life. It was one of the best things to happen to you. So can you let us know what exactly anal cancer is? What was your prognosis? What were the alternatives? What was your protocol? What did you do? Because I know, and it's amazing, but can you share all that with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I got the diagnosis, and pretty much, I have to say that I'm actually quite lucky, I feel, with the actual cancer that I got, because it was half inside my body and half outside my body. So it was very, very apparent. I think, I'm not sure whether we caught it at an early stage. They didn't actually, the prognosis was, there was no stage. They couldn't determine what stage it was. But it is poorly differentiated cells, which is a very aggressive form of cancer that is prone to metastasize, spread through the body very quickly. It happened really fast. I mean, I went to see the doctor. The doctor referred me instantly to a surgeon. The surgeon had a look at where I was at and said, we need to operate on you immediately to get rid of that, which I was quite happy to do, to be honest, because it was extremely painful, and it would wake me up every 40 minutes, an hour at night. So I was getting really run down with the pain and the lack of sleep and all the rest of it. So I sort of went along with that, with all of that. I was rushed into hospital within, I think it was less than a week, and then I had the surgery. I didn't really have very much time to think about everything, but I thought, yeah, let's get rid of it. And then they did, it was a presumption at that stage that it was cancer. So they removed the tumour. It went away for a biopsy. The biopsy came back and said, yeah, it is cancer. And unfortunately, we've actually not got it all, because from the biopsy, we can see there's still cells remaining, or potentially remaining, in your body. So that was it. I was like that. Okay, right, this is a new adventure. Where are we going with this? And I started researching cancer in depth. My research was 6-8 hours a day, looking at every aspect across the board, finding out as much information as I could. And obviously, the hospital, I mean, they have a protocol, a health protocol for cancer, and it is surgery, chemotherapy, and radiotherapy. Now, my girlfriend, several years ago, had told me that there is no way on earth that she would ever let me do chemotherapy or radiotherapy from the research that she'd done if I ever got cancer. But I had to make my own decision. And to be honest, what I found out and the research that I did was horrifying. It really did horrify me. And the long term, I mean, they were offering me 5, maybe 10 years, if I was on the low end, the percentage that will survive it. And I was like, that, my son's 5. I want to live another 20 years at least, so that isn't an option that I want to look at. So I started looking into natural health protocols. Again, it was the most difficult part of the whole process was to find qualified information that for a way forward, really. And this, the internet's an incredible thing for all of us. It's a real education if you want to use it like that, or entertainment, whatever you'd wish. The information was there, but there's so much poor information, good information, hearsay. It's to collect enough information to make a qualified decision as to what is the right thing to do was actually the most difficult part of the whole thing. I was very lucky. I was involved with some closed Facebook pages and groups, and where there are hundreds, thousands of people who are in the same situation as me, all trying to look for an alternative. Either they'd been through the chemo and radiotherapy and it wasn't working, or they wanted to look for something different. So, and it was brilliant because on those forums, there's questions, answers, information freely available, that is shared between the groups, and it was a really, really good resource for me. And I met some very, very amazing individuals. They're angels, to be honest. They commit their time and energy into helping other people. And I met a guy called Ash through that forum, and he had created a basic protocol based around cannabis oil. And I've done a lot of research about cannabis oil. I knew about cannabis oil. In fact, myself and Emma tried to help two of our friends, a family member and a friend who had cancer. Unfortunately, they actually died. So that gave me an insight into the fact that there was more to just what I call the magic pill formula, magic white pill formula. You can't just take a pill and suddenly you'll be cured. There's a reason for cancer. It's a symptom of an illness, in my opinion, and there's no point in treating a symptom if you're not going to get to the root cause of the actual why you're ill, why the cancer has manifested itself. So
so for you, why was that? Why had the cancer manifested itself for you? What was your personal experience around that?
A terrible lifestyle, really. I mean, for the years that I was the recent years that I've been working as an office manager and commuting, my life just deteriorated hugely. I was doing 12, 13, 14-hour days, weekends, everything. So I was extremely busy. I didn't have time for myself to do anything that is my release, that makes me feel good. I had very little time for my kids. I had very little time for my partner. It was just horrific. And on top of that, not only was I not getting any exercise, which is something that's been very predominant in my life, my nutrition was appalling. I went from an average good diet, relatively healthy, to absolutely eating rubbish. Just sandwiches I never had lunch. My breakfast would be a couple of cigarettes and a coffee. There was nothing that I was putting into my body that was actually good. I was drinking quite a lot at the time as well. So I was drinking a bottle of wine every single night. And gradually I just wore myself down. And I think that is where the cancer manifested itself, because I wasn't looking after my body. I wasn't supporting any of my systems. There's 12 systems in our bodies, and probably all of them were running at the maximum, trying to deal with all the toxins and the poor nutrition I was putting into my body. And then
kind of overload right there where you're supposed to let it all out. Your body's in shock and it's not doing that. It's holding on to all those toxins and things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I destroyed myself, really. Physically, mentally. I was very stressed. I was tired permanently. It was an extremely difficult time. So, to be honest, I'm not surprised that my body broke down, and the manifestation of that was cancer. That's a symptom of neglect of my body, and my mind.
Yeah. So then finding that information that's credible, that you can trust your life with, is a huge part of it, isn't it? And you were lucky enough to find these places. Can people connect with you and get a little kind of signposting after this show?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's been quite incredible, this journey, because I mean, I'm still on this journey, Trish, at the
Yeah.
moment. This isn't over by a long way. And I mean, if you go and do chemo and radiotherapy, then inevitably at some point, especially if you've not changed anything in your life, and you're only taking that treatment for the symptoms, invariably it will come back. You know, if you don't change something, then it will come back and grow again. So
putting the two things together, that is an option for someone, isn't it? They can go down the medical route, but they need to change something physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually even, that will change things in their body that can support that. Or if they're in that place where you were, where the prognosis was so small, you know, you've got 5 years after all of this, you know, if they're in that boat, then doing all of this will totally support them in their journey as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's critical. I mean, the chances. Yes, people will get over. The human body is an incredible, amazing thing. I mean, that's one of the things that I say about the cancer is so enlightening, that I've had to learn so much. I never want to be a doctor. I'm a hardcore physical grafter. That's what I do. I never wanted to do academia. I was never involved in, I went to college, but it was reluctantly as an apprentice. But so what I had to learn how my body works and why it works like it does and why we get illness. Now, on my journey, I found out that cancer is just one serious illness. But, you know, the diabetes, Alzheimer's, you know, you name all the major diseases are out there and are rife in humans at the moment, then you will see that they're all actually very related. They come from a breakdown of one of your systems, blockages, poor nutrition, the whole spectrum. It's really important that if you have an old battered guitar and you're a genius at playing music, you might be able to make something of it. But if it's got holes in it, and you're not going to get a decent sound of it. You need to look after that guitar. You need to look after your body.
So the systems that you're talking about, I mean, you don't have to go through them all, but what kind of things would someone be looking at to clear up?
Oh, in the very first instance, because there are so many toxins in life. So, for example, soap, shampoos, toothpaste. These are all things that you absorb through your skin, through your digestive system. There's herbicides, pesticides in most foods. There's very poor nutrition in the actual foods that we eat, so that even if it is healthy, it hasn't got the right nutrients in it that it should be there. So the first instance for me was eliminate all the toxins, get rid of everything that is poisoning my body. Because, you know, if your body's being poisoned, then your systems, your immune system is going to be dealing with that before it even starts to look at trying to heal your own illness. You know, deal with the cancer or whatever, diabetes, whatever's come along. So that was the first instance. That is the first step. Get rid of everything. And I did the same when I had water filtration. I went to a real extreme. Like, I looked at everything that was potentially a poison to my body and I eliminated it. That was the first instance. But then, obviously, because I've spent nearly 50 years filling my body with these toxins, and within the system we've got 12 systems. So you've got your blood, you've got your nervous system, you've got the skeleton system, you've got your immune system, you got the recent ones, the cannabinoid system that they only discovered in the last couple of decades. All these systems make you work really efficiently, and all these systems need the right nutrition to be able to function. It's like a petrol engine. Don't put diesel in a petrol engine, it won't run very well, So it's the same. So the first part was to get rid of the toxins. The second part is then to clean your body of all the pollutants, all the buildup of everything that you've ingested or been exposed to over the your previous lifetime. So and then once I clean the system, I started with the digestive system, because that's obviously where you put the fuel in, and there it gets distributed to the rest of your systems in your body. So that was the next stage, was to clear my whole body out with a detox. Once I'd eliminated the poisons, then detox my body.
So how did you actually detox your body, and what was that like? You know, because I quit caffeine 2 years ago, and that week, well, 2 weeks, I felt absolutely horrendous. I knew it was good, but it was like it was coming out of every cell. It was like some kind of drug or something that was literally coming out of my body. I felt ill, I had headaches, sweats, but now I wouldn't touch it. You know, it's like a poison to me. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. It's very different, you know, and it's like, so if you're doing it on, that's just caffeine, you know, I'm trying to imagine here doing the whole thing, or even little bits of it. What actually did you do to do your digestive system?
Okay, well, the first detox program that I went on was I went raw vegan. So it was I only used fruit and vegetables. Everything was organic. Everything. That's the first instance, because then at least you're getting clean food. As I said, with the water, I used water filtration, so I was getting clean water. But the raw vegan diet, so because of what I'd learned about cancer, one of the things about cancer is that if you put sugar into your body, it will get fed. The cancer will get fed immediately. That's how they test for it. They put radiated sugar into your system, and seconds later they can see it on an MRI scan where the cancer is, because the cancer gets fed instantly. So all sugars had to go immediately. But then what I'd started learning was that our bodies, any food that you put into your body, carbohydrate will turn instantly into sugar. So that then again will feed your cancer. So I eliminated all carbohydrates: pasta, rice, bread, everything across the board. I also reduced, I didn't take, within the fruit and vegetables, I didn't take any high sugar content fruits either. So bananas, grapes, dates, I eliminated those. So that was a detox in its own right. That is the initial detox. And but on top of that, it's really, really important as well, because while I was doing that, I also brought into my life supplements, so herb support and various different supplements that I found that I thought that I needed based on, you know, what I discovered about my illness and where it had come from. So that was the first detox, and then after that, I also went into there's various detox programs you can go do through teas, through herbs. So I embraced about 3 of those as well. The Andreas Moritz Amazing Liver Cleanse, which I actually was using to get gallstones out of my liver, or so I thought. Actually cleared most of the parasites out. That was one of the biggest flushes that I got involved with. And so just detox, and then clean your system out, and then replace everything that you put through with good nutrition. That was the basis of it. I lost 2.5 stone in 2 months on that detox. I mean, my body reduced down to the absolute bare minimum, to function. I was alkalizing my body as well, so I was taking simple. I mean, a raw vegan diet is alkalizing anyway, but because that's really, really important. Like most illnesses thrive in an acidic environment within your body. Now, with most of the stuff that we do, with drinking, with poor quality food, with stress, this creates acidosis in your body. So it was important to alkalize. So the raw vegan diet alkalized in the initial instance, but then I'd use things like bicarbonate of soda to really make sure it was alkalized in my body, because the cancer can lives on sugar and in an acid environment. So those are the first 2 things that I eliminated in my protocol.
So is there a way to actually test whether your body's kind of moved from being acidic into being alkaline? Is there something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can. We had the pH strips, and basically you just wee on them, and it'll give you a reading of it. Or also there's a little machine I bought that was like £10 or something like that, and then you dip it into your wee and test it, and it'll tell you where you're at. It's quite an amazing thing to do, actually, because what you'll realise, I mean, I was doing all this raw diet and all the rest of it, but still, I found that there was times because I was testing myself 3, 4, 5 times a day, every time I went for a week, basically. And there was times, like, my protocol was really strict, but sometimes at the weekend I'd have a bottle of wine, and I'd test myself the next day, and I was in acid. My body had gone acid again. So it was the only thing. It was one of the only things that I was able to monitor my progress with, to be honest, because everything else was, you don't know. It's things are happening that you can't see, that you can't feel, that in your body, that your cells are doing stuff, and it might not show up that you've got cancer. But one of the things they say about cancer is it's probably been in your body. It could have been in your body for up to 8 years before it actually manifests itself. So that's before they can actually see it on the MRI scans or the CT scans. So it's a bit of a blind thing you're going through. You're trying to find your way, and there are people out there that are very qualified to give you advice, but trying to find those people is also a difficult task as well.
So where are you at now with it all? Do you still follow this natural health protocol, or is it
Yes. It's become a part of my life now. So I juice every day. I fast a lot as well. I'll fast all day quite often. But I say fasting, I'll have a vegetable juice in the morning, and then that's it. I won't eat anything till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. But then in the evenings, I'll have a salad. Now, one of the things I've introduced is more protein. So fish, I'll have some fish with my salad. I'll have a salad, big salad with seeds, everything that I know that I need in my body, I will put into that salad in it, and then a bit of fish. And then occasionally, sometimes even meat. I'll have a bit of lamb, but all organic as much as possible, So it's still a massive part of my life. And then also I'm supplementing on lots of areas that I've discovered that I was deficient in. And I still do the full herb support as well to keep all the system.
What kind of herbs? What do you mean by that? Because there'd be some people that have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about herbs and supplements and things. What kind of things?
Okay, well, I use a company called Herb Active, and there's quite a few different companies that produce, a full herb support. So all the things that you're unlikely to get out of your regular diet, that because of where you live or what you're eating. So I'm no expert on this. This is just my discovery and where I've gone. So I've used their expert opinions. And so every day I will take, I have a herb drink that I take, and then I supplement with things like ashwagandha, which is an amazing herb. Iodine, I use. There's about 10 or 12 different supplements. Iron, lots of different things that I've looked at my body. I've looked at the things that are going wrong with me and that I'm having problems with, and I've researched that and gone, oh, this could be that, this could be this. I might need more iron. So I'm a bit of a guinea pig. I'm my own guinea pig. So I'm trying things out on myself. Like I found it on the cancer when I was in the middle of the cancer protocol. I had an intolerance to zinc, and zinc made every single joint or my muscles, my bones ache, but like it was horrific. I was like, what is this new illness? And I went back, because I'd written a diary. I went back over the diary for the previous 5 days, and I bought 3 new supplements. So it was selenium, magnesium, and something. But anyway, 3 of them, and all of them had a zinc supplement attached to them. So I had to then go, right, okay, so I eliminated them. 3 days later, I was fine again, So
that's quite amazing, though, that an important part is to keep a journal, isn't it? To keep a diary of what you're doing, because then you could go back and reference it and then see what you needed to take back out of your diet and what you can put back in. That's really important, isn't it?
really important, and particularly because one of the big parts was the cannabis oil. Was for me, there is no doubt that beyond any other protocol, the research and the information out there about cannabis is huge. So there was no doubt that the cannabis oil was one of the biggest protocols that I was going to follow. So one of the side effects of using cannabis oil is short-term memory loss, and like very severe actually on the doses that I was taking. So one of the coping mechanisms to be able to just cope with everything was to write everything down. I had post-its everywhere. I had charts on the wall telling me exactly what I was supposed to do each day, because I'd wake up in the morning and go, right, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, oh yeah, do my juice. You're right, okay, what do I put in my juice? And I had to look it up. So, and another aspect was I had to record all my telephone calls, because I was trying to set up a business at the same time as I was dealing with cancer. So, I was having troubles I was having conversations with people on the telephone doing sales pitch, and I'd forget who I was talking to and what I was talking about, So that side of it was made it important that I wrote in the diary. It was important that I recorded phone calls, and I had everything that I was supposed to be doing that I built up over the initial few months, to make sure that I kept doing the same things and keep that regime and routine going. So yeah.
So the cannabis oil, I mean, again, you for someone watching this and they want to supplement what they're doing already.
Yeah.
That again is quite a to find the best one. How would you? Because I'm sure there's like loads of varieties out there, and there might be people making it that aren't really good at. I mean, how do you find the
Oh yeah, it's horrific. I mean, you can't go to a pharmaceutical. I mean, you go to a chemist and you will get quality, 95% high quality products. Whereas with the cannabis oil, there is a commercial pharmaceutical based THC and CBD actually. Cannabis oils. There's two aspects to cannabis oil. One's THC, and that's THC is the stuff that kills cancer cells, absolutely blows them apart. The CBD, the way I understand it, is then goes in and heals the cells that have been blown apart and keeps it all contained and stops anything spreading. And that's the other aspect. Now, I believe that in years to come, if they spend billions instead of researching chemotherapy, not that they're doing that much, but if they spend billions researching the cannabis plants, there's so many different strains, there's so many different parts of the plant that you can use. I was using a full plant spectrum, so it was the whole plant involved, thrown in. So not just like with the Rick Simpson original cannabis story that we all heard about, he just used the buds from a particular cannabis plant. But what I believe and what I've seen from my research is that for instance, like breast cancer, if you treat breast cancer in the same way that you treat anal cancer, the chances are the cancer will get worse in breast cancer, because it's a hormone based. So you have to have a different ratio of plant and levels of THC and CBD involved. So these are things we learn. So what I was very, very lucky. I got involved with an underground group. It has to be underground because it's illegal. These are people who are risking their livelihoods, their freedom to help other people. And what they've done is they've created oil that was not only one plant, the full plant extract, but 8 or 9 different strains of cannabis combined, so that we get a broad spectrum, a broad base, so that hopefully one of those bits will work. In the future, they'll go, oh yeah, you've got prostate cancer, you need to do this amount of doses from this plant, this part of the plant will work for you, and you just do it for 3 weeks and you'll be fine. But what we're doing at the moment, the cutting edge of these natural health protocols with the cannabis oil, is we've just got to go broad base and just try everything. And what I connected with people, particularly with the same illness that I had, anal cancer, bowel cancer, and to see what they were doing and try and take as much from their protocols that they were using to create my own.
So that's really important, isn't it? That's really important for anybody listening, that not every cancer is the same. And what you might want to have to do with one could aggravate another. And it is about doing that research. It is about connecting with the experts that have done it and changed their lives doing it, the ones that are on the ground, as well as taking on as much, you know, medical advice as well, so that they can make an informed decision for themselves of what's good for their body and their family. It means a lot of research, doesn't it? And
A
connecting with
phenomenal amount of research. That has been the most difficult part of the whole process. I mean, you know, it was difficult taking the cannabis oil as well, because you're supposed to take it throughout the day. So every 2 hours you take a small dose throughout the day. But because I was running a business, a new startup business, I was just, I'd work all day, and then at 5 o'clock I'd just take one massive dose. And so, yeah, you need to get as much information to help yourself, and then also listen to yourself. You know, whatever's resonating with your body. If you're having problems with some aspect, that you might need to change things a little bit. You need to be able to change and adapt as you know, as much as possible. Like myself with the zinc, you know, that was a big one for me. I mean, that was causing me more problems than anything else at that time. You know, and that was supposed to be healthy. So it's really important to keep researching, keep monitoring where your position is, how you feel. If you're starting to feel more and more tired, then there's something going wrong. You need to change, you need to adjust it. It's what resonates with your body. It's a very, very personal thing. There are hundreds of cancers out there, or caused by different aspects of one system breaking down. You know, you really have to monitor it and research it. It's a very difficult, you're trying to be a doctor.
Yeah, well, you're looking at what's going on for me, you know. I mean, that's invariably in our lives. We trundle on and we're giving out to everybody else, and we're doing and we're doing and we're doing. And this is an opportunity to go, albeit a scary one, to go, right, hang on a minute, what's my body saying to me? What's my life journey been about? How can I clear up my physical, my mental, my emotional, and even my spiritual lives, you know, areas? And then, I mean, on a lot of level, I mean, just the fact that you're, you know, at the beginning you didn't have to know any of this, you know, you didn't have to know these people, but just starting asking those questions, looking and asking and being willing, the universe provides the right people, doesn't it? You know, the synchronicities or coincidences, however you want to look at it, meant that you connected with those Facebook groups and connected with Ash, for example, and you know, and so the puzzle kind of grew.
It's everything's out there, Trish.
Yeah.
If you go looking for it, it will find you. You will find it. Like you say, it's the universe, the synchronicity of it all. It's all out there for us. Yeah, without a doubt, the very, very first thing in the whole of my protocol was to have a very positive mental attitude. There was no doubt in my mind. When I was in my office, I'd had the surgery, and then they phoned me up they phoned me up to say, look, we've had the results from the biopsy. Are you okay to talk on the phone? I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I said, right, it is cancer. They told me it was cancer, and I just went, okay, cool, all right, that's no problem. And I put the phone down, and then I started researching immediately. Like, what does anal cancer mean? What's the statistics? Wow, all the rest of it. And then go on.
No, what can I do about it? How can I help myself? That's your attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, and rather than getting the fear, and rather getting depressed or angry or going down any of the negative things, which I knew was never going to help me in any way or form, I needed to come up with questions and find the answers to those questions. So it was really funny. So I sat in my office for an hour and a half going through the internet, looking at the government, the NHS, all the Macmillan, all that sort of stuff, trying to find out what it meant to me, and who, what was, how long it was going to take, how much time did I have, all the rest of it. And then I suddenly realised, actually, I didn't ask enough questions off the cancer nurse who phoned me out, so I phoned her straight back. But I felt really happy. And then I put the phone down after that conversation, and I knew that I had the information, the basic level of information, to move forward in a positive way. There was no doubt. I've lived a really extreme lifestyle, in being out surfing in giant waves. I go solo rock climbing. I've always have done. It's been one of the things to do. No ropes, so it's fully committed. And if you let fear or doubts come into your mind, you will die. That's a fact. That is one thing that I've learned on my journey. Now, this is a life-threatening illness, cancer, for most people. But for me, it was quite easy because I had weeks before I was going to die. At the very minimum, that was my personal prognosis. Whereas, you know, if you're going rock climbing or you're surfing in giant waves, you've got split seconds,
You've got
and
seconds,
you're gone. Yeah,
you've got less
split
than a second, less than a
yeah,
second.
yeah. So I was like, I've got plenty of time here. Right, calm down, settle, get everything laid out, and your path. You know, look for your path and look going forward. And one of the things that I've always done in my life is I do everything the hard way. I've never seen the point in doing things the easy way, because you learn more doing things the hard way. With this, I was like that. I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm going to do it the easiest way possible. I'm going to make this come. Not only am I going to look for it, but I'm going to let things come into me and let me and use the whole universe to make this happen, to make it possible for this, you know, for a cure. But it's not just the cure of the cancer. It's to change my whole lifestyle, to make things better, not just for me, but for my kids and you know, my partner and then my friends, and share it all freely with everybody who wants to listen. You know?
Well, yeah, and today you're gonna touch so many thousands of people that end up listening and watching our show today. So, how can they get in contact with you if they need to ask you a little bit more, or say what was that Facebook group, or what was the actual protocol, or what's the detox? Are you open for that?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page that is it's called World of Life. So I'm because obviously I've shared one of the things that I've found on my own protocol is that I've been very open and shared things. I've always have been. When I suffered from depression and I found therapy, I shared that with everybody. I want people to know that there is a way forward, that you don't have to live like this. So I've been very open and shared things. So, and what I found is, I mean, you're looking at cancer, it's 1 in 3 people are going to be affected by cancer now, in this day and age. In 2016, that's the national statistics. So it's going to happen to your friend, it's going to happen to your family, whatever. So yeah, it's really important to share it, and the closed Facebook pages are amazing. So, but because I exposed myself to everybody, suddenly people started coming to me and saying, well, "What are you doing? My mum's got this. My best friend is dying of cancer. All this." So I've got a little pack that I put together that will set people off on the right direction to be able to go there. So yeah, I'm more than happy to share that with anybody and everybody that needs it. And it just gives you a baseline to start from, and then you can develop it to suit yourself, because it's a big subject at the end of the day.
That's amazing, thank you. And then for someone who hasn't got cancer, who hasn't got diabetes, but actually is like, it is 1 in 3 people, could come and knock at my door at any moment. Prevention is better than cure. What can someone like that start doing that can help themselves?
It's the same as if you had cancer. Basically, eliminate the toxins in life. Get rid of all your E numbers, your sugars. I mean, it's not easy. It's difficult, but every step you take in the right direction, you're going in the right direction. We need to reverse the lifestyles of what we're doing. So definitely the first thing is get rid of the toxins, and then start looking at cleaning your body out. There's lots of different protocols for detoxification, for heavy metals, for everything in the body, basically. So then you need to look at where you're at with that. So but primarily, this is the biggest advice that I can give out to anybody if you want to start something, is do some mental health therapy. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, you wouldn't sit in your living room with a broken leg hoping you'd get better and you'd be able to walk on it. You go and see somebody who's professional and understands it, and will fix you, will help fix you, because your mental health, without your mental health, if you're depressed and you're unhappy and fearful, and you get cancer, you will die, regardless of how much treatment you go through. That's my opinion. So mental health is really important, and it's the mental health that will help you give up smoking, reduce your drinking to an acceptable level, and actually not eat so much bad, convenient food. Eat good quality. It's actually just as easy to do that as it is to throw chips into an oven or a pizza into an oven. It's just as easy to make a salad that is going to give you all the nutrition that you need. It'll make your brain work better, your body work better, everything in your life better. So yeah, mental health is definitely one area that everybody should start looking at. And you might not have serious problems, but you're not, like, I was suicidally depressed most of my life, but like, it might just be a little problem. It might be something that's stopping you from taking that next step to having a preventative, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I totally agree. For me, it's absolute key. I find it all very bizarre that mental health is only suddenly becoming in our sphere. We have a physical body, we have hospitals, we have a mind. Where's our well-being hospitals? Where are they? I'm on a mission. I want that to be next door to a physical hospital, because as far as I'm concerned, it all starts with our mind. And if we can make those changes there, then action becomes effortless. It doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm totally waving that banner as well. Trevor, you're an absolute star. Thank you very, very, very much for sharing your whole journey with us. I'm sure you're going to be inundated with lots of people. What was the name of the Facebook page again?
It's World of Life.
World of Life. I'm going to join it. I'm going to like it, and we'll share it along with this show when it goes out in the next few weeks. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, okay, thank you. Hang on, I'm going to. If you'd like to say bye to everybody, I'll put you back in the waiting room, and I'll see you in a minute.
This is so important that we share this information, and collectively we can do something to change the world. And thank you very much for giving me a chance to explain.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And I've got a weird vibe that you'll probably be back on the show with some more GC information in the next few years, I'm sure. Thank you, Trevor. Thanks, love.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Okay. Wow, that was amazing. I've got I'm going to start doing lots of natural health protocols myself. That was really inspiring. I hope you enjoyed that show as much as I did. And next week we have an amazing lady. Her name's Claire Kelly, and she's the co-founder of Indigo Herbs, which is an online shop that sells natural health products and supplements and herbs. So that's quite in keeping with our show today. What an amazing show. I'm so blessed to have been able to have Trevor on our show. I will be seeing you next week. And in the meantime, remember to be present, be kind, and be real. Thank you very much for spending your time and listening to us. See you soon. See you next week. Bye.